Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into a huge topic, AI and the future of, well, people management. We've got insights from some really heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm. We're talking founders of people analytics at Google, US Army talent innovators, and workforce architects from Meta and Microsoft.
And we're kicking it all off with some reflections from Cole and Scott over at Directionally Correct.
Right. So if you're looking for a quick brief on how top thinkers see AI really restructuring HR, this is it. We're looking beyond just making things a bit faster.
Okay, so let's start there with Cole and Scott. Cole's reflection, it really zeroes in on what he sees as the biggest hurdle for people analytics.
Yeah, he argues that HR's default setting is risk mitigation.
Right, don't get sued, stay compliant.
Exactly. It's the organization's immune system. But Cole is saying that for people analytics to create real value, I mean massive value, it has to completely counterbalance that.
So dedicate everything to fostering innovation instead.
All of its effort.
Okay, but hold on. Is it realistic to ask HR to just abandon risk? I mean, isn't that a core part of the job?
Well, it's not about abandonment. It's more about where you focus your analytical firepower. You let the regulatory folks handle compliance, and you point the analytics team at innovation.
I see.
And that's where Scott's idea comes in. He provides kind of playbook for how that innovation actually happens.
The process of oscillation.
The idea that innovation isn't just a brainstorming session in a conference room.
No, it's structured. You go out, you find new ideas from, weak ties, external sources, and then you bring them back into your core team to actually refine them.
Exactly. It's a disciplined search and refine pattern.
Which, requires new tools. And that's a perfect transition to Prasad Setty, who pioneered people analytics at Google. He has some, very specific views on generative AI.
He does. Setty gives us this really critical distinction. He says Gen AI is fantastic for what he calls divergent problems.
So things like, give me 10 different ways to approach this, broaden in your perspective.
Right. Perfect for Scott's going out phase of oscillation, but he warns it's much less reliable for convergent problems.
Where you need one fact-checked correct answer because of the whole hallucination issue.
Precisely, and his own use case was just wow.
The Gemini chatbot one?
Yeah.
That was mind-blowing. Recreating his old Google Teams personas inside a chatbot just to simulate the conversations he missed.
I mean, talk about co-creation, but it also brings up the big risk he talks about.
Dependency.
Yeah. If we just treat AI as a copy and paste tool, we kill the effectiveness of human learning. It touches on his whole 4 E's: framework, effectiveness, efficiency, experience, and equity.
So we've got the innovation mindset. We've got the tools. Let's talk about the team itself. This is where Kris Saling's perspective from the US Army comes in.
Right. Saling's core idea is that, traditional workforce planning is already outdated. It has to include the machine.
Not just as a tool to help people, but as a member of the workforce itself.
Yes, the goal is to structurally determine who or what does the work. Is this a human task or a machine task?
And that completely changes the game for human skill. Saling points out that as AI handles more of the quantitative stuff,
the real value, the unique insights will come from humans doing more complex qualitative work.
Like figuring out what makes a manager truly extraordinary, not just running regressions on survey data.
Exactly. Human intelligence gets pushed up the value chain toward making meaning and using judgment.
Okay, so to wrap this whole structure up, let's bring in Alexis Fink and her view on why so many AI adoptions fail.
Fink just nails the critical mistake here. Organizations assume that if you make individuals a little more efficient,
like, using AI to summarize my meetings,
that it will just magically translate to massive revenue growth. But it doesn't. You can't just optimize tiny tasks within a broken system.
So her solution is to flip the whole process on its head.
Completely. She says you have to start by redesigning the entire business process around what the machine can do better, not just what it can do a bit faster.
And that means defining the job analysis that comes at the very end.
The absolute end of the process. You figure out the best workflow first, and then you decide how to split the remaining tasks between, as she puts it, silicon or carbon.
So what we're really seeing is that AI is challenging the fundamental structure of work. It's forcing a total rethink of jobs, skills, even what innovation means.
Which brings us to the final thought, and I want to pull from Setty's 4 E's again. If AI is going to handle all the mundane work for maximum efficiency, the big strategic question you need to be asking is this: how are you going to design work to maximize human meaning and purpose, the human experience? How do you keep people engaged when the robots are doing all the boring stuff?
Something to think about. We really encourage you to check out the sources we shared. Until next time.